The Hiphil is the fourth binyan, the fourth verbal stem covered in this grammar. The other three to date have been the cal, the pl, and the pual. The major relationship of the Hiphil to the original cal stem we covered is that of causation. In the Hiphil, the subject of the verb causes the action of the cal verb to occur. So for instance, katal in the cal is he killed. Hiktil, which is the Hiphil form of the same root, you can see kof, tet, lamed. The Hiphil form means he caused someone to kill. Just as with the PL, however, there is no single generalization that will explain every instance of the Hiphil. There will be some verbs that occur only in the Hiphil, or some verbs that have a different relationship between their Hiphil form and their cal form. The main uses of the Hiphil are three: causation, internal causation, and denominatives. The first major relationship of the Hiphil to the cal, as we have said, is that of causation. That can either be causation of an action or causation of a state. And a causation of an action is when the Hiphil verb causes the action indicated by the cal form of the verb to occur. Consider both Genesis 8:1 and 37:23. In 8:1 we read, Vaya'aver Elohim ruach al haaretz. Vaya'aver is a Hiphil narrative, third masculine singular of the root avar, and the cal avar is to pass or cross over. In the Hiphil, it's that Elohim, God, caused ruach, a wind, to pass al haaretz, over the earth. In Genesis 37:23, we have Vayafshitu et Yosef et kutonto. Vayafshitu is a Hiphil narrative, third masculine plural of the root pe, shin, tet, to strip off in the cal, but in this case they caused et, marker of the definite direct object, Yosef. They caused Joseph to strip off et, another marker of the direct object, his coat. Causation of state, on the other hand, is when the Hiphil verb causes a state to become a fact. Consider Exodus 34:24. V'hirhavti et guvuleka. So here we have the Hiphil verb. So the root you can see is rahav, which is to be wide in the cal. But in the Hiphil, in this case a Hiphil converted perfect, first common singular, and I will cause to be wide, or I will widen, et, marker of the definite direct object, your borders. Second, internal causation is when a Hiphil verb seems to indicate a subject causing itself to enter a state, but there's no separate object in the sentence. Notice that neither of the following examples has a direct object. Psalm 1:3, V'kol asher ya'aseh yatzliach. So first, v'kol and anything, asher, the relative pronoun which, ya'aseh, this is a cal verb, cal imperfect, third masculine singular of the root ayin, sin, he, a type of root that we'll discuss later in the grammar, and everything which he does. And then the Hiphil form is yatzliach, Hiphil imperfect, third masculine singular from sade lamed chet, to prosper. So in this case, the prospering, it's one who is making himself prosper, you might say. It's in the state of prosperity. In Job 25:5, we have Hein ad yareach velo ya'ahil. So look as far as the moon, and then the negative particle, and not, and then a Hiphil form, Ya'ahil, the Hiphil imperfect third masculine singular of ahal. And again, this is a case, look at the moon and it is not bright. It is not that the moon is making something else bright, but that it makes itself bright. And recognize, of course, we know in modern knowledge that the moon is reflecting light, but phenomenologically it looks as if it is creating light itself. Thirdly, Hiphil verbs can be denominative, meaning that they are verbal forms that are formed from a noun. Consider Genesis 2:5. Ki lo himtir Adonai Elohim al haaretz. For ki, not lo, then himtir is a Hiphil perfect, third masculine singular of a root matar, which is rain. And it seems that the nominal form is original, matar as rain, making the nominal form into a verb, in this case is done in the Hiphil, to make rain. So for the Lord God had not yet caused rain upon the earth. If you would look back at chapter 14, section 1, about the functions of the PL, and compare that list to the three functions of the Hiphil we have just discussed here, you will note that the two stems can overlap in function. Recognize then, though we can generalize to say that the PL is a factative or intensive, and the Hiphil is a causative, those are only generalizations, not ironclad rules, and we must always work with each root as it actually appears in the language, instead of trying to steamroll the actual behavior of the language with our categories.